Call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Will you please stand and join me in pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. It's so great hearing so many people in the room. It's usually not that bold, so thank you, everyone. All right, with that, we'll start with roll call. Lisa, we call roll, please.
Here, Councilor Hubbard. Here.
Here.
McGraw.
Here.
Mayor Winchell.
Here. Next is item 4, adopting the agenda. Are there corrections or additions to the agenda? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Hatfield,
Second.
second by Councilmember Hubbard to approve. Discussion. Hearing none. Can't find my gavel, sorry. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Post same sign. Motion carries. All right. Next, I have a couple of proclamations to read here. First one is Small Business Saturday. Proclamation in recognition of the Small Business Saturday, November 30th, 2024. Whereas for generations, small businesses within the city of Chaska have shaped and embodied our community entrepreneurial spirit and driven our economy forward. And whereas Small Business Saturday is a day dedicated to supporting small businesses and communities across the country and is celebrated each year on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. And whereas by shopping small, consumers make a big impact on their communities and local businesses. In 2023, consumers reportedly spent $17 billion at independent local businesses during Small Business Saturday. Whereas the city of Chaska supports and recognizes its small locally owned businesses for their many investments they made, their jobs they create, and the generous contributions they have provided to further the quality of life we all enjoy. Whereas Chaska urges all residents to support their local small businesses on Small Business Saturday and throughout the year. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Mark Winshuttle, the mayor of City of Chaska, on behalf of the city council and the citizens of Chaska, do hereby proclaim November 30th as Small Business Saturday. In witness whereof I hereunto set my hand and the seal of the city of Chaska on the 18th day of November in the year of our Lord 2024. So, Kayla, you want to touch on that?
I think it's great. Small Business Saturday is really a great time to shop any of our local businesses, but obviously I'm gonna specifically mention downtown Chaska as a great time to do that. And it means a lot to all of the businesses in Chaska, and that's really if you want a preview of something I'm gonna say on Wednesday at the mayor's luncheon, our small businesses in town, or our businesses in general, are part of what makes Chaska a great small town. So yeah, I'm great.
Good. Thank you. Yeah, it's important, and we've always supported, Small Business Saturday and try to continue to. So, all right. Next one. This is a proclamation. This on Veterans Day, we dedicated Creek Road, which is in front of Veterans Park and the VFW location, and we dedicated that road to our veterans. And we read this proclamation there, but we want to get it officially on our record. So the dates will be back from November 11th. So I didn't make a mistake. This is from then. So proclamation commemorating the dedication of Veterans Park Drive. Whereas the city of Chaska has dedicated Creek Road as Veterans Park Drive in honor of the Chaska residents who served in the United States Armed Forces. And whereas the Chaska community recognizes that these brave individuals have dedicated themselves to protection of our country, often at great personal cost. And whereas, as a symbol of our respect and gratitude, it is fitting that we dedicate a prominent public space to honor their service, sacrifice, and courage. Whereas the street known as Creek Road shall have the honorary name of Veterans Park Drive to serve the permanent reminders of the commitment of all veterans, especially those from Chaska, who have served our country. And whereas Veterans Park Drive will provide an opportunity for all who pass by to reflect and reflect on the sacrifices made by veterans and the freedoms they fought for to preserve. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Mark Winchell, as the mayor of the city of Chaska, on behalf of the Chaska City Council, to proclaim Veterans Park Drive will be the honorary name of Chaska for Creek Road, and I encourage all citizens to acknowledge the service of our veterans today and every day. In witness whereof I have set my hand in the seal of the city of Chaska, 11th day of November in the year of our Lord, 2024. So each veterans group, the Legion and the VFW commanders each got one of these proclamations, and like I said, they were read at the ceremony. It was very well attended. It was a great day. So it was kind of fun to see that and exciting. So if you haven't had a chance to drive on Creek Road, go down there. There'll be a street sign, and then if you go in a little further, there's a sign dedicating. Probably should have taken a picture and put it up on here, but we didn't do that. So, all right, that's the end of proclamations. Now we're in the visitor presentation. I'm going to turn it over to Chaska Robotics. I don't know who's going to start. I don't know if it's you or. But just for our record, state your name as if you would and your address. Just, yeah, come on up.
My name is Sam Boniface. I'm with Chaska Robohawks. Address?
That's good.
Oh,
You're fine.
and we have a presentation to go over and just kind of what we're about, what we do. So we are team 2531 Robohawks, and we are a group of 9th to 12th graders from Chaska High School.
So I'm going to stop you. Why are you 2531? I asked this when I was there. So why are you that?
So with how this organization is called First, and they run the stuff, they give us a different challenge each year to complete, and they need basically a way to tell all these teams apart. And so essentially they've been just whenever a new team is formed, they will give out a number. And then with those, they've just kind of gone up over time. Originally, it wasn't really a pattern, but now as they've kind of got into it, it's kind of an ascending order. So I think currently they're in like the 10,000s. So that's just kind of the order of the team.
Interesting. So I'm sorry to mess you up on your presentation, but.
So why we're here is kind of our goals is to promote STEM. That's one of the major kind of principles of First. Because as an organization, they run multiple different kind of levels of robotics and competitions to get people involved and provide opportunities. Along with that, we work on teaching critical, like important skills like problem solving. And then teamwork is a really big thing because when you have a team of like 30 plus people, communication and those things are very prevalent and needed. And along with that, working with mentors, so people in the field currently, is a very valuable tool that we've used to kind of have connections for students and also learn from people who are actively doing the things that students are working on. So what does our team actually do? First off, back there is a robot. So that's kind of the big thing we do is every year we'll have a different one to complete a different game. But past that, we also have it's kind of a goal of a team to work on community outreach as well. So having a positive impact on the community, doing things like helping promote STEM education, starting up smaller teams. And along with that, we have business and marketing. It plays a really big role, and it is not really visible on the robot or even something like this, but we have to figure out where we get our operating budget each year. We have to figure out what our costs are, how the logistics of getting like 30 people to Duluth for about 3 days. And that work really does come from the students, and it is not really set out for us. So it's something that we actively need to be the ones to do. And it's maybe not visible, but it's a very large part of the team, and it's these useful skills, and it's very interesting. Along with that, one of the other thing with First itself is they have a kind of a term, it's called gracious professionalism. And by being a team with First, that's also become one of our goals, but it kind of represents just being a nice person, helping out other teams and working with people. One unique thing about First is that the matches for FRC, which is these big robots, are 3-on-3. So you will have with 2 other robots and against 3 more. And even with this you'll play a bunch throughout the day. So you could be on a team with someone and then a few matches later be against them. And even with this culture, if you're down in like the pits where people are working on the robots at competitions, the entire thing is people will like ask for parts, people will give them, people will show them how to solve problems. And it's an environment not where people want to be, I don't want to be the best team, but they just want to help other teams as much as possible. And it's kind of created this unique environment where people are helpful in a competition to the other teams. Next. And so I mentioned it before, but the actual game. So every year we have a different kind of challenge that our robot has to do. They've ranged a lot. We've had stuff where we have to basically like throw frisbees. We've had stuff launching small balls. We've grabbing cones and putting them on certain areas. And then from that, it gets revealed about the first week of January. And then we have about 6 weeks till competitions start. So there's a lot of prep work before that, but the majority of the building of a robot like this happened in about 6 or 7 weeks. And then from that, as I mentioned earlier, it's 3-on-3. So it's working with other teams and filling different roles. And generally in games, there's multiple different things robots can and will do. So it's a lot of it plays into teamwork and working together as a team, not just like 3 individual robots. Next slide. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Mahi. I'm on the RoboHawks too. Do you need my address?
No,
Okay, okay, so
I'm used to saying that, but
okay, yeah. So first Lego League. So in First Robotics, there are kind of 3 like main leagues. We are in the high school league, and that is the first robotics competition, and you build bots that are up to 3 by 3 feet, so they can get very big and they can be up to 125 pounds. But we also have 2 leagues that come like in the younger ages. The first one, you can start from anywhere from preschool, is First Lego League. And First Lego League it's basically exactly this, except the robots are on just normal tables and they're made out of Legos. And the programming's a lot more simple. Just everything's a lot more simple, so the kids can learn those core skills they need to be learning, but also they're kind of learning the same lessons we are kind of learning, even though there's like a lot of different complexities involved in solving all the challenges. They're kind of still learning the same lessons of teamwork, about innovation, about inclusivity that we are. So First Lego League, that's the one that I started out with in 5th grade, and that's kind of where my journey with First began. Currently, I am the head coach of the Carver County FLL program, and there's like 1 team that in existence right now. And so the way it works is they start out in elementary school. They put themselves through First Lego League, then they progress ideally into an FTC team, and there's an FTC team here, and they'll talk about it soon enough. But yeah, First Lego League is kind of where it all starts. And so to talk about FTC, yeah.
My name's Wyatt with the First Tech Challenge team, and it is from 7th to 12th grade. And they are more of the medium-sized robots that can go from as small as you can get them to 18 inches this year, in all dimensions. And so we have ours back there, and then
the next slide. He changes it. I didn't know if you needed the next slide.
No,
Okay.
I have a quick question. Is this after school, I'm assuming, like the club after
it's
school?
ours is my team. It's like a community club, so we go through community education.
Sure.
But we are more like a neighborhood team going through it. So it's after school sometimes.
You're good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I can talk about some of the FRC. So in previous years for our past robots, if you look at these slides here, these are from a bunch of different games. And while each one kind of has a similar theme, they have the colored bumpers, which are just red or blue team. We swap them out so we just know which side we're on and the same team number, but they're completely different. There's been ones where you throw these large balls, pick and place crates, shoot frisbees, and even these weird shaped discs. And every single year there's different design requirements. There's different challenges, and One thing about this is you kind of have to start over every year. To make sure teams are on a more even of a playing field, you cannot reuse pre-existing systems, and you kind of have to build everything from scratch. And while not everything kind of carries over, there's some exceptions, but it really is, next year, we're gonna have a robot that looks nothing like that. First off, because the game's different, but then second is because we can't reuse just the same robot. So we're gonna, even though we may use some of the same systems, we still need to go all the way back to the start of the design process and then go through that loop again and again each and every year. And then I'll talk about kind of this specific current robot. So with this current one, I don't know if you guys can see on those slides, but those orange rings, they're called notes. Each game kind of has a theme. This one was called Crescendo as a music theme. So all that really meant is they named the different things after like speakers and notes and whatnot. But essentially what it was is we take these orange rings and we either launch them into about a 6-inch gap, 6 feet off the ground, or we place them in a slot along the wall. And then we score points for doing these different actions. And then along with that, at the end of the game, there's a chain about 3 feet off the ground that the robots could climb up onto. And then if at the end they're able to basically support their own weight, we'd get points there. And we kind of achieved this through our robot. What it does is it will pick them up off the ground. It will transfer them to kind of its shooter, and then it will feed them through as the wheels spin to put them out at the top. Along with that, I think we'll be able to show you later, but the front of it will flip down so it's able to put them in kind of the vertical slot on the wall. And then with this current game, we have a video of one of the matches to kind of go over what it actually looks like.
Behind the lines. 3, 2, 1. Crescendo.
Sadly, we cannot include hammers into this game. However, we can include notes into the speakers. Both alliances getting notes into their speakers. 6381 picking up one here from the middle, and it looks like 2977 is going to play a strategy, picking up those notes and just lightly tossing them onto their side of the field, trying to disrupt everybody else. Let's see if they can capitalize on it as they move in Sir Lancerbots to try to get all those notes right up against their speaker and score them in. But Blue Alliance has got something to say about it. 6381, as long with their alliance partners coming in, trying to pick those notes up before Red Alliance can score them. Red Raider Robotics with a shot in, as well as 5903. It bounces out, but they'll get another chance. All of these robots have the ability to pick up notes from the ground, which makes it rather fast for them to be able to recover from any accidents they have. Red Alliance has got their side amplified. Let's see if they can make it back in time to get those shots in for the extra points. Blue Alliance with an amplification. Red Raider Robotics 6381 with a shot in, along with their alliance partners. Looks like 2531 is able to get in. Robohawks. A nice clean shot from Thorbots as well. We've got about a minute 20 left in this game, and we are real close, 40-49. We're watching some more amplifications. 2977 with a shot in. 1816 follows them up, and 4111. That's 1, 2, 3. That's 15 points for Red Alliance. Blue Alliance answering with their own amplification. Looks like their robots are flying across the field. They might even get another 2 shots in. That would be another 10 points for them if they make it before that amp runs out. More shots in for Blue. That's 59-58. Blue taking that 1-point lead. Lots of collisions between the red stage and the red source. One more between that blue stage and red source. Lots of traffic in that region. Looks like they're holding here for an amplification, and they fire. A little bit of opportunistic defense here from 4511. That's your 20-second mark. Let's see. We've still got a little bit of amp time on that red speaker. That might be the difference here. That's another 5 points in from Green Machines, 1816. 1816 is going to try to get another set of notes. Looks like these robots have decided that they're going to score more notes instead of getting on stage. However, 5903 for Blue Alliance is up there. And that's your match. This is going to come out real close. Blue Alliance with our first upset here, our number 7. Blue Alliance taking the win. Red Alliance with 76 points. Blue Alliance with 85 points. Very close match here. Again, that means our number 7
And so with this, if you guys are able to see it plays out kind of like any other sport. You have points you'll score and there's penalties, there's things you can't do. There's refs along the side counting for points. And there's a bunch of different strategies from seeing how many notes you can score to blocking other robots from doing that. And a lot of work does go in beforehand. Another chunk comes into how it's driven and what our strategy is. So before each match, we will go out to all the teams and plan it out ahead of the times for what we're going to do during auto, which is that first 15 seconds. That is no, you're not allowed to have the driver input it. So you basically have to pre-plan your route. You have to have it ahead of time and using sensors and where the robot is and a pre-planned set of actions. It will go out and do as much as you can. Stuff is the notes and stuff you score are worth significantly more during that time. So it is very important because it's a lot harder to do, but there's a bigger reward. And then along with that, this match was in our playoffs. So generally a competition lasts around 3 days, with the first few days just being full of qualification matches, they're called, where we will essentially play up to 60 or more, depending on competition. And then each team is, I think, in around maybe 8 to 12. And then you will get points based on how you place if you win and if you complete certain other objectives. And then from that, I think on the last day, the top 8 teams will essentially pick other teams to be on their teams of 3 before it's 8 teams of 3 that will go into kind of a playoffs. This one, we were the 7th alliance. So it was not that likely we were going to win, as almost always the first or second has just a massive advantage because that is one of the best robots there. So this was a really great match. And then I think we ended up winning this one. And
Hammers behind the lines. 3, 2, 1.
we go next slide. And then is there any questions people would want? And then after we can run the robot for a little bit. Questions?
No questions, but I think that's amazing. Just like the teamwork and camaraderie and how you talked about the operating budget and all of those things that are certainly things I wish they taught in school more, especially I think for those of us that are older, they didn't do things like that. So that's amazing. So thanks for sharing all of that. I had no idea. I thought you guys really just ran around robots. So it's really cool to hear all of the extra stuff that you don't see beyond the robot that you guys do. So thank you for sharing.
Do you get your contributions mainly from individuals, like, your family members and other individuals, or do you find that you have corporate partnerships, industry locally or maybe even bigger that help?
Yeah. Well, we run a sponsorship program. So we have a team of people who work on reaching out to companies and essentially getting contributions. We'll do things like put their name on our t-shirts or a robot. And that's where ideally a majority of the cost comes from. We do get support from the school with paying some of the costs that we know will come up every year. And then for some of those, it does come on the students to pay for things like the trip itself. But generally, we're able to get sponsorships and funding from other places to actually afford the registration and building the robot.
And then you said that you can't reuse the same robot that you used previously. I'm assuming you can't use any of the parts.
So what
You recycle any of the parts.
So what it is you basically can't use pre-built systems. This robot is basically a combination of parts, and it's motors, it's metal, but it's all in a specific way. So we have one more kind of off-season competition for practice and whatnot, but then after that, we will work on dismantling this robot so we can get our motors, we can get the electronics to be reused again, because those are very expensive. And that's where a lot of our money has come down. So it's being able to reuse those is important.
I think it's also important that it teaches us, you guys, and then also other individuals about the reuse part of, recycling something, bringing it back into something else. With the parts, are you guys then having to, how do you acquire those? Are you having to get them from special, like a hardware store catalog or computer store, I suppose?
Well, they have basically an online store. We're able to basically order the motors specifically that we use along with electronics, because there's a lot of stuff that is very unique to First. So they've basically created their own place where you can buy things, and certain companies will sell things that are made for this purpose. And then along with that, we are able to essentially, we have multiple 3D printers we use to make some custom parts on the robot. Along with that, we have a CNC machine, which we can basically program and create custom shapes out of metal and other like plastics. And then we're able to basically make our own parts for the robot with the stuff that we can't order.
I was out there, I thought it was interesting that everybody's got their own niche. Some are mechanics, some are computers, some run the 3D, some run the CNCs, and I just thought that was really interesting how they operated that. They all have you guys all have the general knowledge of the unit itself because you got to problem solve if something happens, correct?
Yeah, and a lot of that will come at competitions where we got an hour before our next match and our chain just snapped, or we suddenly started not being able to drive. And that's where a lot of problem solving comes in, and also like being able to diagnose it, but then also fix it in such a short time span. We had one recently, while it was just a practice, we had to replace all 4 wheels in the span of in between 2 matches. So just being able to do that, being able to work fast and efficiently with other people is a big thing, because there is like 6 or 7 weeks of lead up, the actual thing is only about 3 days. So just making sure you're able to run for those matches is important.
Anything else?
Yeah, I'm a shameless plug here. I'm also one of the coaches for the electric lemons and limes on the FRC side. And, what I see, every time I go to practice, it's just amazing because just the intelligence, the problem solving, the skills that are learned there, they're not just the technical skills of building something, but it's also teamwork, camaraderie, sportsmanship, the gracious professionalism that is a theme. It's such an important theme that underlies both FRC and FTC, in that it teaches the skills to be an effective team player. So when you graduate and you go into the workforce, you'll have skills to be able to work with a wide variety of people, to be professional, to be competitive, but at the same time also be able to work together and help people. And the skills go beyond just the technical skills like we talked about. It's also like marketing, it's public speaking, right? It's about maintaining budget, things like that. So it's just amazing what you learn, and just everything I've seen from both the teams and I've been immensely impressed at what each of you has done. So I certainly kudos to all of your success, and certainly good luck to your success in the future. But I do have a question for you. So like you mentioned, you do have to fundraise, and fundraising is such an important part of this because obviously that's kind of the core to be able to afford to build this. How much does it cost to build a robot, or what's your typical fund look like for a year, a season?
It varies because, as I said previously, we do have like parts that will carry over. So one like really big expensive thing on the robot is our motors, up to like $300 or more each. And I think we have 14 maybe. So that's a big cost, and a lot of stuff we have to buy metal. We can't reuse the same metal. There's a lot of stuff that can't carry over along with that. I think an estimate for last year is around 7,500 for building that robot. But then along with it next year, we're probably going to expect to have more than that, because we are looking at buying a new like chunk of motors and tools that will be used for the next 3 to 4 years. So it definitely varies per year. And along with that, a lot of the cost comes from going to competitions. We have to pay registration fee. We have to be able to pay for busing, hotel rooms and whatnot. And that cost does fall on the participants a lot, but also the team working to make some of those things more manageable and making sure we create fundraising opportunities for the students so they're able to pay for that. And then the last year, and then 3 years ago, we were fortunate enough to be able to go to Worlds, which is in Houston. And that was a major expense both of those years. And while it was amazing, it's very hard to do on a few weeks' notice. And one like kind of the expected cost was around $50,000 to get the robot and everyone to Houston. It's been a challenge. So this year we are working to be more prepared for that possibility, because it is definitely on the table now, as we have gone 3 times total now, with 2 of those being in the last 3 years.
I think that's a testament to the tenacity, the talent, and also the ability to put all the pieces together that you're able to achieve that success. And I think that one of the things that's really important is that for you to compete at Worlds, you're at that level where you're consistently able to get there. But it's a community that takes the support
to help you to get to Worlds. So it's important, and really glad that you guys are here because it's an opportunity to recognize that it's our community helps you to shine up in that world stage. So thank you very much for coming out here, and you're up for once you get to that point when you're ready to go to Worlds or you look like that. You know, I think it's important to come back here and to make sure to recognize so we can help provide that support and get that word out to the community to say, you know, some great young people who are prepared to go that next level. How do we help you get there?
And I mean, especially with that this year is we are already planning for it and working on it because we know it's a possibility. We don't want to get caught off guard. So we are already trying to put that effort in now, along with reaching out to more companies and larger companies as well with some grants. So it's just being able to utilize all of our opportunities because we do have the amazing community like Chaska, but then also there are specific things for FRC that these larger companies have done and figuring out where we are in building connections. Like, for example, Amazon last year, they were able to basically use one of their trailers to transport all of the robots from Minnesota to Houston. And stuff like that is the interesting opportunities and things that are available for just specifically FIRST.
Absolutely. Very cool.
All right, well, let's, how about a little demo? I'm not responsible for lost toes, so you guys are on your own in the front rows.
Be driving it around fast or shooting it, because this thing.
I thought you were gonna put your hand up there. I was just gonna catch him up here.
Well, normally it shoots into something with a backstop. So it catches it, that competition.
Sure, Mark can be the
On
backstop.
the back, there just wasn't, it shoots all over and lands somewhere in the pits.
Put him up on the little mezzanine up there. We won't get him back, but.
We can renovate anyway.
You guys, if you're having problems with your phone, shut your Wi-Fi off. The Wi-Fi in here is not good.
Yeah, we actually, we directly connect to the robot.
Okay.
Through the radio, so it just takes a bit for that to turn on. But with FIRST itself, there was specific technologies that you kind of have to use to be able to. I will say both of our drivers are not here and one graduate.
It would, no.
And this. Oh, yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
normally that will rev up and then we basically feed it through, but that would hit the ceiling and that would not be good. So, I mean, one unique thing about the design is that we use 8 separate motors to drive. And that essentially allows us to control the rotation and basically if it's moving out of all of the different motors and the wheels. So we are essentially able to move and spin with them independently. So we can do stuff like driving a straight line and spinning. And we do a lot of stuff on like programming stuff. So the robot basically goes with the.
You just went straight ahead. How fast would that go?
Pretty fast.
Like,
mean-
I'm barely pushing it, I'm barely. You've already moved that fast.
I mean, are we talking 10 miles an hour?
Faster.
That's like, that's one of the slowest speeds.
Yeah, and I mean, with matches, is especially for this game, we're having to go back across this giant field, so it's how fast can you really go? And when these things are like 125 pounds, it's a lot of force. We've had some, I know there's at least one collision last year with the bumpers around one other robot. We broke them because of how hard it hit.
Wow.
One other thing we can't really show today is we have a system on there that basically allows us to grab that chain. I don't know if you guys are able to see in the video really well, but on each side of the field, there's these structures that have chains between them that the robots are essentially able to grab onto, climb up and get points. Our entire kind of front of the robot with the shooter, the entire thing will lift up. We go under a chain and then as we pull up, the robot will flip forward and rest on it and then switch to a secondary hook. So that was one of the more unique things about our design and that'd be really cool. We just can't really show it today. We don't have the setup.
Where do you store him?
So at Chaska High School, we're fortunate enough, we have one area in the shop field that we're dedicated to robotics. We'll keep all of our stuff there, and that's where we have, we always build kind of a replica field out of wood, and then we use that to practice, and then we escape the test and then.
Yeah, and that shooter over there, like pivots, there's kind of like a platform that isn't, so like there's a place where you shoot the notes in. That's when you have it in this position. When we shoot, the note kind of, wherever the note is, it'll kind of go in through here, and then there, we have these, we call them omni wheels, but these will kind of guide the note into these wheels, and it'll shoot out like very fast at like at kind of like a high angle. But then there's also these like kind of holes right next to that high target. And so then the note can also, instead of just shooting it, it can like go and it can like just kind of drop it into a hole.
Any questions, anyone else?
I would just say, shout out, work for a larger engineering company, so STEM is awesome, appreciate that. Shout out to the future women engineers back there, Swee's awesome, appreciate all that women provide to the engineering field as well. So good to see that representation as well.
Are your coaches here? Why don't you come on up and state your name and just say hi and kind of maybe just.
Gotcha.
We want to see you drive it.
Peter Potter, lived at longtime Chaska resident. I think we moved over here in 90, my wife and I. My wife taught in the district. I've been teaching in Waconia, and last year I came over and got a job at Victoria Elementary. And I had been coach in Waconia of the RoboCats. I don't know hardly any of the names yet of the kids. I'm new. But Allie has been here, and she's also a mom in the program, and she's the assistant coach.
Yes, my name is Allie. I have been the assistant coach for a couple years. I have a background in physics, so I absolutely love this, and I love the women in STEM too. I'm making it normal. That's my goal. And I want to say one thing, I don't know if anyone really caught this, but they are doing all of this on their own. We are here to support them, and we sit and we watch and we help and we step in when we need to, but they're doing it all. And yeah.
Yeah, this is a student-led team, and this is the sport where everyone can turn pro. It's very important that great mentors are involved. The adults that come in, they support the kids. They say, well, over at Bongards, this is how we do the, and so they get real world applications of what they're doing. Something they didn't mention when you ask about the value of the robot is the amount of programming hours. And that's a hidden cost. These kids spend many, many hours programming. A lot of what happens on the field is from the programming, the targeting that has to happen. And it's getting more complicated every year. I've been with the program 12 years, and we've really come a long way from a time where a robot would hit another robot and they'd be dead in the water for 40 seconds because the components weren't robust enough to take it. But now they're dealing with things that are much faster. They're going to change the bumpers this year. Yeah, because the bumpers have pool noodles in them backed up with 3/4 inch plywood, and it's not holding up. It isn't BattleBots, but there are some hellacious hits and things that happen with parts flying, so. So it makes it fun.
Behind too?
I'm lurking. Oh,
Sorry.
yeah. Hi, I'm Shayna Cloyce. I'm one of the coaches of the FTC team. So my son, when he was 3, was downstairs in the library and saw the high school robotics team come in. And he's wanted to do it ever since. We couldn't find a team. So finally, when it was in 7th grade, we broke down. He started a team. He called up a bunch of friends, and it was amazing how many people wanted to do robotics, but it just wasn't available. So we started First Lego League. We got into First Tech Challenge through Community Ed. And now the high school team has let us come into their space. So the FTC team is in the same room with the high school team. We were in the wood shop last year next door to them, and the community is amazing. They're good mentors. They come over, they were writing notes on our whiteboard, supporting us. And yeah, it's a great community, so we're glad to be part of it. And some of our members are on the FTC and the FRC team. So that's fun for that feeder program.
Awesome. All right, well, thanks. I don't have last questions from up here. Anyone? Comment?
Just amazed.
Yeah, thanks for coming. We love this. We love when people get to come show us what they do. Otherwise, these meetings get real boring. So we appreciate you bringing your super cool robot and sharing that with us.
Photo up, right?
Does somebody kind of know some of your sponsors that you might want to just give a little plug for? Anybody remember them? Whoever, just step forward though, so we can hear it on the,
Yeah, I just gotta come up to the mic.
you know?
Don't be shy.
Oh, okay. I don't know exactly the
You want to
numbers,
be on,
but, like,
you want to be on the mic so we get it recorded. Thanks.
we have this company like in Chaska. I think it was like off like Hazeltine Boulevard. It's like
Hazelton or Lake.
Integer. I think it was Integer.
Big region.
I actually do not remember what they do, but they like I think we actually put our sponsors like names on our shirts and everything. We have this company like off Lake Peavy Road. Their name's Super Radiator Coils, and they've agreed to like give us give us as much metal as we want and all that. And then I think and we also like do a lot of like there's some opportunities where like it's not exactly sponsors, but like we go out we go out to like the VFW and like we help them like serve burgers and stuff, and we get like a portion of like the proceeds. And then we also are starting to go to London Byerly's. It's kind of big groceries for customers or like volunteer places like that, and they also give us a substantial like amount of money. But yeah, like there's like a whole, the sponsor market is it's actually really, really hard to get like a sponsor because you can't exactly like say like, I want to like get this much money by the end of like this week. It's kind of like, when the sponsors want to do it, they will do it. So finding the sponsors is like once in they're very rare to find. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, I think before you guys all run off, I think I talked about a picture or somebody did it. If you guys want to come on up here and somebody from the organization can take a picture. Come on, all of you, come on up.
Wyatt, bring the other bot.
I'm standing.
I'm not gonna be able to be seen over some of these kids.
person. Yeah, he's standing.
I'm not John.
Oh, that's why I always see like a vagina when I stand up here. Like, God, this picture of John.
Uh-oh.
Did you like be like crouched down when
There you
I mean,
go.
there?
we should go over there.
Yeah, we
So
do that.
we should go over there.
Yeah,
We'll go over there.
Then everyone looks like they.
Hold on.
You guys go over there so you can get with the robot.
Yeah, I think they wanted one up here first.
Okay.
This is what they asked for up here first.
Okay.
Then we'll go over there with the robot.
Sounds good.
Then we'll get back.
Genies,
In the way.
FTC.
Kevin, did you get one?
Nope, not yet.
Okay.
Oh, this is the official one.
This is the official one, yes.
One of you scientists can help us figure out the cameras. They're all off on here. It's only getting half the.
What's that? Oh, that's just been up all day.
Are angled?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They won't be able to get the whole.
Oh. Yeah. One side of the
Well, we only saw a picture of the one side of the name.
I think she's doing seven. Good. Yeah, what's its best side?
That's pretty cool.
Is he interested in this?
Can't see the camera, they can't see the monitor. So maybe.
Should I just like?
I'm sitting right here. Taylor, why don't you go around the side? Yeah, there you go. Lots of people. Is everybody? Yeah. Good. All right. Thank you. All right, well, thank you guys. Absolutely, thank you. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Cool stuff.
Yeah, tough shoes to fill there.
I know you do.
I don't wanna go next.
Yeah.
I know,
City stuff. You both work for the city?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I like Variance.
Thank you.
Are they real leather?
No.
They're amazing. looking.
Yeah, they're stretchy and
They look comfortable.
they are actually, yeah. They're one of my favorite pairs to wear. 'Cause
Buy
they're,
this because.
you know,
Yeah.
sit cross-legged in them.
Days like this.
Yeah,
I've like
exactly.
gotten so lazy with work from home. I literally don't own pants
Sorry, we
anymore. I wear joggers and sweats
Yeah.
every day.
Good athleisure
Good.
wear that you can workwear. I literally just bought another pants that's from a workout company, but they look like real pants.
And if you
Oh,
stand
yeah,
up,
those
they
are
look like
great.
they're real, like
Yeah.
dress pants, so I get by with them.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Any nice.
Is that what?
Yeah.
I have an agent that works for an engineering company. So
Yeah, yeah.
It's funny, 'cause my kids go to St. Louis.
Hey, you're like doing.
And they don't, they wear uniforms, so the little kids have to be in, like the dresses, and stuff, but the older kids, instead of wearing uniforms, they're allowed to sort of.
I'd say you probably have to be really.
They really? Yeah, it's
Oh,
like
wow.
all the seventh and eighth graders, that's all they come to church in is their.
Gosh, I would do the same
Yes,
thing.
yes.
Yeah.
That is on my son's. Nicest pants in the world.
Yep.
We buy
They're
uniforms,
spendy.
we buy 2 or 3 pairs, so
My
it's,
favorite over
it's
here.
probably a lot less expensive.
Yeah.
And it has the logo put in a pocket, but.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
Over his mom.
Usually-
Athleisure has become the way of the world.
They have.
Take over.
And honestly,
Well,
Yeah.
Still at the school. All right, thanks, everyone. I think that was a pretty cool demonstration. They had,
Is really good too.
wanted to know about if they could come up here, and I said, absolutely, so. But thanks for hanging in there with us. So, all right, we'll get back into the business here. First off, is there anyone else here under visitor presentation, not an agenda item? Okay. All right, so, next item is approving previous meeting minutes. And we have 2 meetings, so we're gonna have to do them, individual. One is the city council meeting from 11/4, and the other one is the city council, with the, election canvas. So, with that, if there are no corrections or additions, to the previous meeting minutes on 11/4 of 2024, I'd entertain a motion. So moved. Motion by Councilmember Grah,
By Councilmember Hubbard, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Post same sign. Motion carries. Then the other one is the council meeting with the election canvas on 11/13 of 2024. Again, no corrections or additions. I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Hubbard,
Second.
second by Councilmember Hatfield. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Post same sign. Motion carries. Next, we're in consent. Consent are items that need our approval, but not necessarily conversation, but any and all can be discussed if anyone's got a question. That is probably the smallest consent we've had in a long, long time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's like, is this
It's like a baby consent.
Yeah. Entertain a motion to approve consent.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Wong,
Second.
second by Councilmember Grau. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Post same sign, motion carries. All right, we move into item 9, action items. We start off with a public hearing and adopt resolution 2024-89 approving the city application to Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development deed for the MIF program.
Mayor and Councilmember, the item in front of you tonight is sort of an exciting one because we have Beckman Coulter that's looking at doing another expansion within our community. I know they've done some in the past, and it's been great to see the company grow within our community. One of the programs that we have access to is the Minnesota Investment Fund through the state of Minnesota. And I'll turn it over to Julie, who has been working on an application on behalf of Beckman Coulter in this project.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. My name is Julie Rowe, Economic Development Coordinator. And as Matt said, the city's received a request from Beckman Coulter to sponsor an application to the state deed program, the Minnesota Investment Fund program. That's what MIF stands for. And just a little background on what this program is. It is one of DEED's financing programs that helps to fund, it provides funding to help new workers retain high-quality jobs statewide. It's available to industrial, manufacturing, technology-related industries, basically to help increase the local and state tax base and to improve economic vitality. To be eligible for this program, companies must meet, there's a minimum criteria for private investment, number of jobs created, wages paid, and that kind of thing. At least 50% of total project costs must be privately financed, so the company must finance that. The size of the MIF award really depends on several factors, including competitiveness, local economic conditions, job creation, and wage levels. And those two, the job creation and wage levels, really play the most weight for this program. To get the funding assistance, the business company has to work with their local government. So that's kind of why we're here tonight. We work with them on an application package, and then the local government actually submits that application to DEED. And then once the funding is awarded, DEED will provide that funding to the city, and then the city would transfer that over to the business. It kind of works like a Met Council LCDA funding. If you're the grant funding, we have received some of that in the past. However, MIF awards are typically in the form of a forgivable loan, and that's what this kind of funding would be for this project. The city typically becomes aware of these projects that are asking this funding kind of one of two ways. One, we do a lot of business visits throughout the year with different business. We give them packets of information and tell them about all sorts of local funding and statewide funding that can help them. And then at some point, if a company is thinking of an expansion project like Beckman, they will come to us, and then we'll go to DEED and kind of start the process that way. The other way, and in the case of with Beckman's project, they went directly to DEED, and then DEED brought us in, and then we started working with Beckman on this project. So going back to Beckman Coulter, just a little bit of information on the company. They develop, manufacture, market, and sell products for biomedical testing with a focus on making laboratories more efficient. They are considering expansion, like Matt said, at their Chaska facility. They own a number of sites kind of north of Lake Hazeltine. This site in particular is 316 Lake Hazeltine Drive. It's just northeast of Qualitech, if you're familiar with where that is. So this proposal includes a 2-story expansion to their existing building. It would be on the northeast side of the building. And it would be, the total expansion would be about 148,000 square feet, which would be an 88,000 square foot footprint, and then about 60,000 on the second level. The expansion is estimated to be about 50 million. 47 million of that would be for construction costs, and then 3 million would be machinery and equipment. And with this expansion, it's proposed to provide 300 new full-time staff positions. So as their expansion plans are finalizing, they're working with city staff and will continue to work on a planning application process. They are likely to be coming before you with a concept review in either December or January. The MIF funds are necessary for this project to offset capital improvement costs and make the Chaska expansion more favorable in comparison to some of their other national locations. And as part of the application, and the reason we're here tonight, the city is required to hold a public hearing, and then we're required to adopt a resolution approving the application. So that's what staff is asking of council tonight, to hold a public hearing and then adopt that resolution that's attached to your staff report. I should mention, as Matt mentioned, there are representatives of Beckman here tonight. And I believe one may wish to speak. And if you have any questions, I can answer or they can answer. Thank you.
All right, let's start up here. Questions?
So from a net tax impact for Chaska, this is really a sponsorship, so to speak, of, you know, an endorsement of the application. There's no cost to taxpayers from the city of Chaska, right? Yep.
Well, I'll just say that, I mean, there's nothing better than, you know, when we see our own businesses expand. I mean, I think it's great, and programs like this that can help offset costs is even better, you know, so. But if you wouldn't get these funds, would you still go ahead, or how does that work? And I don't know if somebody obviously from Beckman, just state your name and your address if you would.
Yes, I'm Amy Salisbury. Our address is 1000 Lake Hazeltine Drive. Yeah, we've been with that facility since 1972, when Callisted Brothers started there. So we're very proud of being there at 1000. We currently have 440,000 square feet that we occupy. So adding this additional 148,000 square feet will help as we consolidate some of our manufacturing to this facility and make it the center of excellence for Beckman Coulter. We'll also grow organically at this facility as well. So we have some space for growth organically. And yes, we will still continue with the efforts if we don't get this funding, but clearly that helps with our capital spend outlay.
Once you get to this point in the Minnesota Investment Fund application process,
You're in pretty good shape.
You're gonna get it.
Well, that's good to hear. And that, like I said, appreciate you guys. And like I said, I've known the name Beckman Coulter for as long as I've been around here, you know, and I remember Calstead Labs even, so we mentioned that, but, it's just awesome to see you continue to grow, you know, that's, like I said, that's the ultimate of things.
It's great for us. Yeah, we're growing in the business that's there. We're going to be consolidating, like I said, some of our manufacturing, so there'll be multiple different products that'll be produced here. We have 950 people tied to the site now, so the additional 300 is about a 33% growth. So it's a pretty substantial growth and investment for us.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for, you know, for being such a large part of this community for so many years, and, you know, hopefully, you know, with this award of this investment that, you know, you'll be around for another 52 years, hopefully plus more. So thank you for continued support.
We have purchased the building, so we expect to be here for a long time.
And I believe Beckman Coulter's name is on the wall at the robotics.
Sponsor the robotics team as well.
I was trying to get him to say that, but he
didn't quite bite there.
But I didn't want to.
Involved in our community as well.
I didn't want to say it in case I was wrong, but so that's awesome. And that's the part of, you know, everybody's giving
Well,
back
that's
to
the
each
real
other.
world tie-in.
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. Is there any other questions? All right. So we'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and open the public hearing at 7:59. Is there anyone that would like to speak regarding this issue at the public hearing at this point? Seeing no one, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing at 8 o'clock. And with that, folks, I would entertain a motion adopting resolution 2024-89.
So I'll move to adopt resolution 2024-89, approving the city's application to the Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development on behalf of Beckman Coulter.
I'll second.
So I have a motion by Wong, second by Hubbard to again adopt resolution 2024-89. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Post same sign. Motion carries. All right, you're done. Thanks, folks. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Good luck, and we'll hope to see you here in a couple months.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, next up is approve resolution number 2024-90 denying a major variance for 2979 Hilltop Drive to encroach in the rear yard setback.
Mayor and council members, this is an item that's coming from the Planning Commission. As you just mentioned, Mr. Mayor, this was one that was recommended for denial at the Planning Commission. I do have Liz here to go over a staff report and some of the facts behind the variance request.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Mayor and council members. We have a major variance application in front of us this evening for the property at 2979 Hilltop Drive. The request is being made by the property owners, Joe and Michelle Heiland. And this is in relation to a variance request regarding the rear yard setback that applies to their lot, which is defined by zoning section 1512-200. So to give you an understanding of where the property is located, we have an aerial exhibit included on this slide, colorized for the distinct areas of the site in question. 2979 is highlighted in blue. It might be hard to see on your screen there, but where I have my cursor over the parcel. It's located on the western limits of the city of Chaska, bordering what is known as our Laketown Township Orderly Annexation Area. This lot is technically within the boundary of city of Chaska in a plat known as Town Course Heights, which is highlighted in the salmon color on the aerial exhibit. That area is zoned what is known as Planned Residential District, specifically PRD 42. The abutting properties around here include Chaska Town Course on the eastern limits, Laketown Township Orderly Annexation lots to the north of this property, which are detached single-family homes, rural residential on the eastern limits, and Pioneer Trail, as well as the access or entrance into Clover Ridge to the south of Town Course Heights. Here's a more zoomed in aerial exhibit of the property if we need to refer back to it for any reason. But just in terms of some background and existing conditions of the property in question, the plat that the property is located in was approved back in April of 2002 at the city. At that same time, the annexation into the city of Chaska was also completed and approved. So it was a part of what is the orderly annexation area of Laketown Township, but that annexation was approved in 2002. Then subsequently in 2003, the property was rezoned to the PRD 42 zoning district as established by ordinance number 746. Within that ordinance, the zoning refers back to the standard R1A zoning for setbacks that apply to this lot. And that's where section 1512-200 comes into play, which establishes the following setbacks of a 30-foot front, a 30-foot rear, and then an exception or a 20-foot rear setback for attached unenclosed decks, and then a side setback requirement of 10 feet for house and 7 feet for garage. In terms of this lot in particular, at 2979 Hilltop Drive, the acreage is 0.26 acres in size, which amounts to 11,325 square feet. There is a drainage and utility easement along the rear portion of the property, which I'll show a colorized exhibit where that lands. The former deck and what is now the existing porch does cantilever up to 2 feet over this easement. However, that is not considered an obstruction per staff. It was approved that way. The property does contain a 2-story home and then also a partially built 3-season porch on the rear portion of the property, or on the rear portion of the home. Where that porch sits today in relation to setbacks, it's set back approximately 22 feet from that rear property line. The construction of the 3-season porch was started in spring, summer of this year, and it did not obtain a building permit through the city of Chaska. It was basically constructed over where the former attached unenclosed deck sat. So again, as the zoning applies out here, attached unenclosed decks, the setback requirement for that is 20 feet from the rear property line. And with the former deck location at 22 feet, it was compliant with that rear setback for decks. With the enclosed 3-season porch locating over that footprint of the deck, the requirement for enclosed portions of the home or principal home does require 30 feet. So with it being set back 22 feet from the rear property line, it does not meet the required 30-foot setback. It encroaches up to 8 feet into that rear setback. Here's that aerial exhibit again of the property, showing the 2024 aerial of the property. I was informed that what's being shown on this image here is the start of the construction of that 3-season porch. This is a 2024 aerial, and it is located 22 feet from that rear property line. This is a colorized survey of the property and what's being shown with the existing 3-season porch. So like I mentioned before, the rear portion of the property is shown on kind of the upper north side of this exhibit here. The yellow area is that drainage and utility easement on the back side of the property. And then the blue portion is where the existing 3-season porch sits along the property. And it's at 22 feet from that rear property line. And then that slight encroachment over, which is the 2 feet cantilever into the easement. The 30-foot setback is shown in the red bolded line here. So where the building setback applies, essentially cuts through the middle of where that 3-season porch sits. The existing home is shown in gray here, and the property line or limits are shown in the darker blue or navy color. So I'm just going to go over a few of the sequence of events that have led up to the construction of this 3-season porch. The full sequence of events is in your staff report. I'm just going to go through a few of kind of more of the significant events that have led up to this point. It was earlier this year that the contractor approached the city to obtain the building permit. It was in April of this year that the plans were submitted to the city for the building permit review. And then in May, on May 3rd, to be exact, our building inspector, Tony Zappa, responded back to the contractor, initially stating that the permit was approved via email and an invoice was sent to the contractor. But within that same minute, our inspector informed the contractor that the permit was not approved as it did not meet the setback requirement for that property.
Can I just clarify? I assume based on the fact that those timestamps were listed, those are timestamps of emails?
Yes, they are. So within the same minute, those two emails were sent, yeah.
Based on that detail, that was my assumption, but I wanted to confirm. Thank you.
Yep. And then a couple weeks after that email was sent, the contractor did come in to City Hall to pay for the building permit. And he was met by Tony and did inform the contractor, Ryan Snetting, that the building permit was not approved per the email that was sent on May 3rd. And then about a month or maybe a couple weeks after that point, the city was notified of the construction of the porch occurring and did go out to the property to observe and did observe that the porch was nearly completed. A stop work order was issued on the property, and that's what that image on this slide is showing here. And then a follow-up email from Tony to the contractor was also sent within a day to inform the contractor, as well as the property owner of the stop work order. And then the following, or a couple days following that email and notification, the contractor did come into City Hall to discuss the stop work order with Tony. And then Tony did remind the contractor that the building permit was not approved. At that time, the contractor admitted to framing the porch before coming to pay for the permit at the end of May, and admitted to continuing work without a permit and not getting the necessary inspections that are required. Also at that time is when myself got involved in the communication, specifically with the contractor, and talking about corrective options for the property. A couple listed or mentioned during that time frame was tearing down or sizing down the porch to meet the compliance setback, or another avenue to explore was a variance. We did inform the contractor at that time that a variance application should only be applied for if they felt that the standard for granting a variance, practical difficulty, is met. And that due to the sequence of events and how it came to be, a variance application process would be difficult to get approved, but it is still the property owner's right to apply for a variance if they wish. And then maybe a week after that communication, the property owner, Joe Heiland, emailed staff for setback information, and we responded within a day. And then less than a month later, staff, myself, reached out to the property owner to get an update on the porch removal / correction. And then a couple weeks following that, we got a response back from the property owner stating that they were planning to apply for a variance. And a day after that, we sent the variance application materials and reiterated that the variance application should only be pursued if there's a strong case of practical difficulty. And then October 1st was the application deadline for this meeting, and that is when the property owner applied for the variance, and hence where we're at tonight is reviewing that variance application. So the request specifically is for a variance from section 1512-200, which lays out a 30-foot rear yard setback for homes. For this lot in particular, the applicant is proposing to keep their rear yard porch as it sits today that encroaches into the rear yard building setback up to 8 feet. And then noting that the porch was constructed without a building permit, so this specific request, this variance request is considered an after the fact variance. This slide shows the existing conditions of the porch and the property today. The images here are shown from angles on the east and west sides of the property of the Three Season Porch Edition. As you can see, it is in almost a nearly complete condition off the back side of the home. The exhibit shown on the top right portion of the slide shows the site plan layout of the existing porch and where it sits today at 22 feet from that rear property line. And again, the building setback is shown almost through the middle of that three-season porch. Getting into how we evaluate variances, we do refer to Minnesota state statute and the city's zoning ordinance that lay out the evaluation criteria for granting a variance. It really gets to a definition known as practical difficulties, which summarizes to 3 different points or criteria that the property owner or applicant has to show how they meet in order for a variance to be granted. And the first criteria is the property owner proposes to use the property in a reasonable manner not permitted by the zoning ordinance. The second criteria is the plight of the landowner is due to circumstances unique to the property and not created by the landowner. And then thirdly, the variance if granted will not alter the essential character of the locality. Economic considerations alone do not constitute practical difficulties. And we look to each of those, or 3 of those criteria in order for us to grant a variance. There's also supplemental questions and considerations to weigh in as we're looking at a variance request, that the full analysis of that is included in the report. Getting to the 3 criteria. So the first one really is to reasonable use of the request. The applicant's request for a porch addition is a reasonable use. However, encroachment into the rear yard building setback is unreasonable. The 30-foot rear yard setback is the common setback found in most standard residential zoning districts. So it's not a unique setback, nor prohibits reasonable development, as the rest of the development has been able to be developed under that same standard. It also doesn't appear to have an unreasonable burden on the homeowner to use their property either under that 30-foot setback. Because this is considered an after-the-fact variance, there are Minnesota Supreme Court rulings that you can look at to weigh in into this type of request. I'm not going to mention all of them, but it really gets to whether the applicant's non-compliance was willful and intentional, or whether it was an unintentional mistake, whether the construction was completed, and whether there are similar structures in the area, et cetera. So these are additional things that can be looked to because it being an after-the-fact variance. Kind of getting to the points or those rulings, the city believes that the applicant was promptly notified on at least 2 different occasions that building permit was not approved and that the setback was not adhered to back in on May 3rd and the end of May to inform of the setback encroachment. And then the city does believe that the porch or the construction of the porch was done consciously without a permit. For this reason, granting a variance is unreasonable. There's still discretion that the city can take in deciding whether to grant a variance, so long as the facts and the record reasonably support the city's interpretation of practical difficulties. In sum, from staff's opinion, criteria number 1 is not met. The second criteria relates to unique circumstances not created by the landowner. It is staff's opinion that unique circumstances do not appear to exist on the property that impact the request to build a porch. Really, the only observed unique circumstance is the significant drainage and utility easement in the rear portion of the property. However, this easement is not more restrictive than the building setback. So it falls outside of that building setback that applies. The subdivision that this lot is a part of, Town Course Heights, contains similar sized lots and the same setbacks apply to them. The exhibit shown on this screen, which was also included in the report, lays out the average lot sizes of the lots within this subdivision. And this lot, in terms of its lot size, falls pretty in line with the other lots within the subdivision. It's not uniquely smaller than the other lots found there. Additionally, the non-conformance is a result of actions of the applicants through the contractor as their acting agent. So this is a circumstance that was created by the applicant. So in sum, it is staff's opinion that criteria number 2 is met. And then lastly, the third criteria relates to essential character of the locality. Staff believes that essential character of the locality is altered. Granting a variance to encroach can set negative precedents to this neighborhood and the overall community. Other properties with similar conditions could seek a variance request for a rear yard setback. Spatial relationships with neighboring properties would be altered as a result of granting the variance, and potentially other similar variances that fall into the same scope. So in sum, staff believes that criteria number 3 is not met. Just a couple other follow-up comments. Staff believes that granting the variance could send a bad message that variances are a tool to remedy the result of creating a nonconformity from not obtaining a building permit. This is not stemming from uniqueness of the property, rather it's a result of unfortunate circumstances that were controlled. The city is not obligated to grant a variance for a completed project that did not receive a building permit. And if the variance is denied, the applicant and property owner will be responsible to correct the setback encroachment, which gets back to some remedies of either tearing down the porch or the section of the porch that is in violation. Staff believes that there is not a practical difficulty on the applicant, and therefore a variance should not be granted based on the following findings, which are laid out in the resolution this evening. And I'm not going to get to all of them, but just a few here. The porch is built is unreasonable as it was not constructed with a valid building permit. The city provided ample notice to the applicant that the building permit application was not approved before the applicant made substantial improvements. And then to the last one, the lot size of the property is not unique. The property is similar in size and layout to other lots in the subdivision, and thus the setbacks are not uniquely burdensome on this property. So with that, with the findings that are listed within the resolution and within the staff report, we are asking you as council to make a motion to adopt resolution number 2024-90, which is denying the major variance request to encroach into the rear yard setback 8 feet per zoning ordinance 1512-200 for the purpose of an existing porch addition that did not receive a building permit. And then based on the findings listed on the last slide, as well as in the staff report and as defined in the resolution. Happy to answer any questions. We do have the property owners, Joe and Michelle Heiland, here to help answer questions as well.
Questions for Liz? Okay. Joe, did you want to come up and speak? Or Michelle? Either, it's generally you don't, but I think it's important in this particular case that you guys get up and have a conversation with us, so.
Well, thank you. I appreciate everyone's time tonight to listen to our request. Just one clarification, I think, on the staff report when it's referred to as the applicant for the permit. That was not us, it was our contractor. So part of the uniqueness of this situation, I believe, is we were going in good faith that the permit had been approved. The first we had heard of it not being approved was the day that Tony Zappa came out in July. Like otherwise we had 100% thought that the permit was approved. We are good to go. So like we were caught off guard, like, just like, as you would expect. So the current setback requirement leaves no room for a 3-season porch, a feature commonly found in our neighborhood, and it restricts our ability to enhance our outdoor living. I see homes in our neighborhood, surrounding neighborhoods, and homes all over Chaska with a 3-season porch. This is a common improvement people make to their homes, and it's not an unusual addition. Our porch is 14 by 14, which is a very reasonably sized porch, not overly huge by any means. I would argue our lot is unique because homes just like ours in Chaska have porches without issue. We are not asking for anything unique or unusual relative to other homes in the city just like ours. The porch aligns with the character of the neighborhood and matches the home perfectly. Our neighborhood is zoned as an R1A. This means the lots must have a minimum square footage of 11,500 and the average lot being 15,000. The city permitted the developer to create our lot as a smaller lot by passing ordinance 746, which allowed a minimum lot area of 11,200. Our lot is 11,325, so we are at a disadvantage compared to other homes zoned as an R1A. In addition, there is no adverse impact. There is no obstruction of views or light. There's no harm to property values or neighborhood character. We received letters from the neighbors behind us and on both sides of our homes showing support for the porch. They all commented how they can barely even see it. We just actually received a text from one of the neighbors on our way here, giving us all good wishes that this would be approved tonight. We also planted arborvitae trees when we moved in the house in 2003, and now there's a line of trees that are taller than our houses even today. So I really beg of you just to use some common sense here. I believe we have proved the practical difficulty for our unique situation. The Planning Commission did deny the variance, stating they were afraid other people would ask for a variance by just building the porch before getting the permit approved. I don't know what homeowner, or really our contractor is also here, and I'm sure he would like to speak as well on his side of the story, but I don't know any homeowners or contractors who would knowingly build a porch that's tens of thousands of dollars, just hoping that a variance would be approved. This was not our strategy by any means. And it just seems like a shame at this point to have a brand new porch that no one around us is in argument of, just to tear it down. And it just, from a, just common sense standpoint, doesn't seem like it makes any sense. Thank you.
Mr. Contractor, do you want to say anything? Name and address, please.
Justin Eklund, 121 West Street North, Oregon, America. We submitted the permit and we got approval from everything except they called for engineering plans for the footings. So he said that was all we needed. So we submitted that, got it back. And then typically the first thing you do is look at the site plan when they review it all. And that was obviously the last thing they did from steps and processes. And I agree that I have my own problem on my end, but it kind of started from everything flipping around from the site plan. I'm just trying to resolve this just to get, I just want to have a happy customer in the end. And the setback says 8 feet on there, but we measured the one corner is 4 feet over, the other corner is 2. So I don't know if the site survey is a little off or whatever, but we don't have anything for documentation on that. But we physically measured it and it was 4 feet and 2 feet, but still over the variance.
Measured from what?
Property line.
You have corner?
Yeah, we found corners and measured from the corners, and it's a little diagonal. So the left side is 4 feet and the right side was 2 feet. So
how can we be off? How can there be such a discrepancy in the in the,
We're using their scaled survey drawing that they provided to us, so we scaled it off that.
Either case, regardless, there's it's still over that.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So whether it's like 2 to 4 feet versus 8.
Yeah, it's over either way.
Either way. Okay.
all right. Questions up here?
I don't want to put you on the spot, so just know that I'm asking this gently. Why did work continue after there was
As soon as Tony Zappa told us that it was approved after the drawings from the engineer, the framing crew just went down, everything's on site because everything has been held up from the drawings from the engineer. And then it was about 2 weeks later, I was picking up another permit and had to pay for that one. And that was when I was notified that the permit was denied.
Didn't you think it was odd you didn't pick one up for that one?
or the email a minute later?
The emails, we never got any emails saying that it was disapproved, so.
Isn't it common practice to post the permit?
It is, but now everything's going paperless as well. So there's no cards anymore either, so.
So now when you came in like 2 to 3 weeks after the email, the 2 emails that were sent, one was the approval, one was the correction, that was the denial. You came in to pay for the permit at that point.
I did not know that it was not taken back at that time.
Yeah.
That was the first I had heard about the permit being disapproved.
So that would have been, so May 3rd is when the email went out for the approval, disapproval. Then, so this is 2 to 3 weeks later. So ostensibly that's, May either 15th through the 24th, somewhere around there, right?
Yes.
So this is roughly mid-May. So mid-May, then you were informed after, that you had a conversation with Tony Zappa that, hey, this wasn't approved. So at this point you were aware of it. How much construction took place between then and July 18th when the homeowners apparently learned about it because you were in their driveway?
It was more finishes. It was already framed with the roof on it and shingles at that time when Tony Zappa and I had talked.
So even at that point, after you and Tony had spoken, you continued construction?
Yes.
Why?
That wasn't my call. I was doing other things and really wasn't on the job site, so I really can't say too much about it, so.
So why would you not let the homeowners know that there was an issue with the city at that point back in May rather than July?
I really don't have an answer for it. I mean, I definitely know that's wrong, and that's not, I've been doing this for 18 years, and this is the first time I've ever had any kind of issues with permitting, so.
Okay. Appreciate your candor. Thank you.
Yeah, I just will say I appreciate both groups coming in. It's not an easy topic and not a fun topic. I appreciate saying it kindly because it's not meaning to put you on the spot and having to defend actions. And I'm sure you feel a little bit that way. And I'm sure you've felt that for many months at this point. So I do appreciate both parties coming in because it's an unfortunate situation, certainly. We're human, we make mistakes, but we have to evaluate the reality of what a variance means to the city and what it means for other parts of the city as well. So again, I do thank you for your honesty.
Anyone else? We got put in a bad spot here. We're the bad people now and we shouldn't be. We shouldn't even be having this conversation. But now everything hinges on us. If we say yes, what happens? If we say no, what happens? I mean, that's the part that really bothers me. My heart says just go with it, but I know that's not the right thing. We've turned down variances, not any different than because it encroached on setbacks. And that's why we have these rules. And Michelle, you talked about you didn't feel your lot is smaller, so you wouldn't have the capabilities of doing what other folks are doing with the bigger lots. I mean, and I looked at your layout there. Has anyone really sat down and looked at other options? Like going around the corner on the side, just come out the door and go to the right. You still have, I mean, you have a lot more footage over there than you do in the backyard. But I just, like I said, we've turned down people with the same thing. If we approve this, what happens? Those folks are gonna come in and say, well, wait a minute, you approved that. And the next person that decides to try to build one without a permit, and then we give you a variance, and can't reward someone for making a mistake. If it's a mistake, it's a mistake. I get it. But
It was a mistake up until I knew that it was disapproved, so.
yeah, but if you didn't have a permit in hand, you should know after 18 years, you shouldn't even put a nail in. You should know that.
But we didn't have, we figured since they wanted an engineering report and all that stuff, that, you know.
Would you have to go back and then get the permit when that's done?
Yes.
I mean, that's what I mean. It's happened. I get it, but it's putting all the onus back to us, and that really just, I don't like that. And I mean, like I said, if you were somebody that had never done this, doing it as a friend, okay, whatever. I mean, not that it would change anything, but you've been a contractor for 18 years. You know you have to have a permit to start. And well, I don't know, is anyone else? Or what's your thoughts?
You probably let him sit down if he wants.
Huh?
You probably let him sit down.
You can, unless you got something else for us. Thank you. If we need you, we'll call you back up.
Yeah, this was really challenging. I came out and met with Joe and Michelle. You guys have a wonderful home and it is a beautiful porch. This is the stuff that tears at your heart because your heart wants to say one thing, but your brain says another. And I think it's been spoken here about, you know, the precedent that gets set. And the fallout that potentially happens. And I didn't even, I was thinking in the future, but you're right. I didn't even think about, you know, past practice. And that's the challenging thing. And the hard thing is knowing that, you know, it's almost completed and what happens. That's the really hard part. But I also know that it is hard in the sense, I know you put your faith into your contractor and you were maybe going a million miles an hour in your job, but you have to slow down and know that you need to go through the proper steps in order to make sure something's done right. And that just didn't happen here.
So, you know, unfortunately, I spent probably almost a decade on the Carver County Board of Adjustment, which basically all we deal with is just variances. And, you know, one of the key things here about variance is that you cannot, absolutely in no circumstances, cannot create the situation under which the variance is granted, right? So if you have something where the variance is, it's a situation not in your control because of the hillside, it was the lot lines, those things, those were not in your control. Had this happened, you know, had you come to us for a variance with the plans back in May, a different conversation completely. Don't even know how that would come out because again, there's still some challenges with that, right? But because construction continued, there were 3 opportunities to stop that construction. To me, that unfortunately puts in a very black and white state that this is a state where I really feel like because of state statute, we just don't have a choice because it sets precedent for future.
Argue though that.
Sorry.
if you're gonna say something, but let him finish first, you have to come up to the mic, otherwise you can't hear.
Yeah, but due to state statute, I mean, like, I've been looking at these things for a long time, and state statute mandates that we cannot grant variance for something that was created by the homeowner. And because construction continued, even after the stop work order, or even after the work was, the notifications and then a stop work order, I cannot grant that variance. To me, it's unfortunately, sadly, it's black and white, and I empathize with you in the situation. I wish I could do otherwise, but to me, legally, we're bound and obligated to honor state statute. And that's the letter of the law there.
I'd just like you to consider that it's the homeowner that's applying and we didn't do any of that. Like.
It is the responsibility of the homeowner who hires an agent, unfortunately, as a contractor. I don't disagree, right? We hire people all the time and we have that good faith and they're reputable too. But that is in the eyes of the state.
Yep.
You are the agent in that case because you hired that. So I don't disagree that you didn't know as much as you should have known. That's a true statement.
Yep.
But in the case of law, you are the agent because they're acting on your behalf, which is the unfortunate situation we're in.
Yep.
You're 100% right that you
there
didn't have the right information either.
Is there any consideration just on the size of our lot being smaller than a typical R1A lot? I mean, because there's people in our neighborhood at the porches. I don't know how they did it.
I think it would have been a different conversation had the porch not been constructed. Unfortunately, we are where we are now. That's what we have. That's the cards we have, unfortunately.
I just want to comment that I had a pretty busy weekend. I know you sent me an email and wanted to chat, so my apologies for not connecting with you or the homeowners earlier. Please don't let that indicate that I didn't care or anything like that, because I certainly do. Because, looking and preparing for tonight, I echo the comments from Councilmember Hubbard. These are the things that doesn't make this job fun at all, because people made mistakes. We're human. A lot of times when I make mistakes, they don't have huge repercussions like this. Sometimes they do. And those are hard, right? But I can't reward them, in my opinion, it can't on the merit award a mistake, an exception. And on top of that, it's not even an exception because we're not being nice about it. It's an exception because it's the law, right? It's opening that piece up for the variance. It is very clear. I'll echo those comments. It's very clear to me that it doesn't meet that standard set by the state of Minnesota. And my last comment will just be too, it is hard because for all the people who never applied because they knew it wouldn't make and never would have known and we got an exception or variance, right? Like those are the ones we don't even know about that we haven't turned down, right? So yeah, this is not a fun topic. I knew it wasn't going to be a fun topic. But again, I won't pretend like it's been hard on me. I understand it's been super hard for the party sitting in here. And I want to recognize that, but it's a situation where we need to make sure we're making decisions that serve the city's interests for liability, reality, as well as just being fair and consistent across our residents.
I think that's one of the key things for many of us, as we mentioned, alluded to, is that there's a huge liability for people to build something, construct something not in code, not inspected, not permitted. And it's already a challenge as it is sometimes, but to grant a variance for something when there was communication to say, no, this is not permitted, that we can't do that because it just gives people carte blanche to unfortunately do things. Then my assumption is there's no ill will, no malicious intent here, but someone who might have that might go out and say, screw it, I'm just going to go build whatever I want, then just ask for forgiveness later, right? So that's
unfortunately you hear those things on the news all the time where
Yep.
contractors take the money, do something wrong. And so I'm hopeful that a solution could be figured out, the fact that, representation's here and, because there's definitely worse situations where contractor doesn't show up and it's covered, that money's been paid too, so. Sorry, I cut you off, sorry.
Nope. All good.
Anyone else? I will just say that this is one of the hardest decisions I've in my time here. I mean, this is just, I mean, like you said, common sense would say yes. But unfortunately, we're gonna have so many repercussions by using common sense in this one. And I know it doesn't seem like that would happen, but I guarantee you it'll happen. And it'll happen if we reward someone for not getting a permit, it'll just open the gates up. And then we can't ever say no. Then there's nothing we can do at that point. I mean, we have our ordinances in place. One of the things that we strive on here is being consistent. In the last 2 years, we've turned down 2 people because they were going into the setbacks. And, we're following what we have to follow. I told you earlier, my heart says just, yeah, not a problem. But I can't put that onus on future councils or contractors or inspectors that they have no control of it. There's nothing to stop anything. And like I said, this is more painful than a lot of other things we've done up here. We've done some painful things up here. This just tugs. I don't know. That, somebody wanna do something, make a motion, last comments?
I just want to clarify that if you're going to consider the motion, it is a motion for denial, and the reasons for denial will be those stated in the motion. Unless there's anything that you want to add to the motion before it's made.
So you're telling me that what it currently says before we vote is saying denying major variance request to encroach on the rear yard of the setback 8 feet for the purpose of existing porch. Is that what you're talking about?
Correct, for the findings that are stated in the motion. So the findings are there in the motion.
Yeah, so they're all here.
Right.
So
I'm just saying
based on the findings.
Right.
Okay.
Unless you want to add something before the motion's made.
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know if anyone else does, but
it seems consistent with what you've been talking about.
I think it's pretty much what we've all been saying.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2024-90 denying the major variance request to encroach in the rear yard setback 8 feet, or however much it is for the purpose of an existing porch addition.
Motion by Councilmember Wong.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Hatfield, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Final discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Both same sign. Motion carries. Thanks for being here. Sorry. All right, next we move on to bills. Questions, comments on a bill?
All right, let's see. I got 3 questions. Page 3, there's an item for Beniac Property Services, talking about irrigation repairs at something. What is that?
So that was irrigation repairs that were done in conjunction with the trail being constructed over by the Sugar Creek townhomes. So some of the stuff that we disturbed when we were going through there, we had to do some repair of irrigation there.
Okay. Sounds good. And then page 7, there was an item for this code 4, this is code 4 services that was for network equipment for, it looks like pickleball or something. It looks like it was cut off. But I know that code 4 does a lot of emergency services work.
They also do our security camera stuff. So we have security camera out there because we have the shelter and the pickleball courts and all that kind of stuff. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
So security cams. And then
Are you watching to get tips on the play?
Well, it could be that too.
Yep. And page 22, there is one that said, what's it? Page 22 for an R&R Specialties of Wisconsin. So I know that there's a replacement plan for the Zamboni at some point, because I remember we had talked about it in the past.
Actually,
Right.
we've replaced both of them.
Oh, they've removed. So this is
Yep.
for the new Zamboni.
These
then.
are new ones. This is
Okay.
just general maintenance work that we do on an annual basis to the Zambonis. So they're both, if you remember, we were able to get them using funds from our electric department because they're I guess electric efficient Zambonis that are used.
Okay,
So
got it. So this is just the regular maintenance piece of that for the new Zambonis.
two new
The two new
Zambonis.
Zambonis.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay, great. That is all I have.
Anyone else? Motion to pay the bills.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Wong,
Second.
second by Councilmember McGraw to pay the bills. Discussion. Elise?
Member Hatfield?
Yeah.
Yes. Member Wong?
Aye.
Member
Yes.
Winchell?
Yes. All right, other business, Councilmember McGraw.
Because it's exactly 1 month from today, December 18th from 4:39, the Santa Parade. So I'll throw that out there because it's in the bi-weekly and it's exactly a month, which is scary and crazy at the
Yeah, no
same time, when you think about it, but,
I think we need for Santa's last ride here. I think we need to have a big blizzard like we did that one year.
and I remember that. Wow, but,
My gosh.
but yeah, no, I say that because it is a month, but it is one of those things where, you think about a couple things tonight. We talked about what came out of COVID that was positive, we learned, right? We talked about golf taking off earlier when we were looking at the budget. But the event of the Santa Parade, I think is just super cool. And in the interest and time that it takes those volunteers and Santa himself to come all the way down from the North Pole on a busy time. I'm sure delegates well up there, so it's a well-run trip. So close to that, December 18th. I would like to, because it's actually our first meeting since the election, I'd like to congratulate those newly elected for all positions. I thank people for stepping up. It takes, especially I think in an environment where the politics word can be difficult, for people to step up, put their name out there, put it on a ballot and represent and serve is something to thankful. So if you congratulate who's won. For those who weren't, thank you for putting yourself out there and stepping up and wanting to serve. And I hope you continue to express your interest in the future. So congratulate to all those victories and not so victories, but good learning opportunities as well. So that is all I have.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Wong.
And on that note, congratulations to, two of the people who are newly elected are actually in the room. So future council member elect Shevlin, who will be replacing me, has been attending this meeting. So congratulations. And Councilmember Hubbard, who will be ascending to the mayoral position. Congratulations as well. So
You're
yeah.
elected. Official title.
Yep.
Madam Mayor.
Madam Mayor.
Oh, that's kind of good, right?
Madam Mayor elect, yes.
Yeah, it's a mouthful.
Yes. So congratulations. So there was we also had this was almost like 2 weeks ago, because this was or almost a week ago, we had the Veterans Day service at Chaska Middle School West, which there's a committee there, and Troy Smutka often kind of like corrals a lot of the electeds to to participate, and that's as always excellent service, amazingly well done with all the students, the staff, the school bands and orchestras and choir and everyone. So, and thank you to all the veterans for their service. And I think it's a great way to provide some recognition of that and to do it in a way that also is a great educational opportunity for the students, the young people today. So thank you to all who participated in putting that together. We also had, since the last meeting, we had the Southwest Transit Autonomous Vehicle launch. So I think some of us were able to attend. So for those who were able to attend, did you get a chance to ride in the autonomous vehicle with an operator behind the wheel?
I had to leave, but
I did do it. It was very interesting. I asked, how does it know when to go? But there's a push button, so the passenger has to push a button to say start. Because I wondered that, and how does it, I don't know if you really knew, how does it regulate whether it's warm or cold in there?
So did you sit in the passenger seat or the driver's seat?
No, you have to sit, there's a driver actually behind
So
where the
there's,
wheel
there's
is.
there's a driver, but they're just
Yes.
kind of like,
The
okay.
passenger seat is the computer.
at least at the beginning.
So then you sit, oh yeah.
So
okay,
these were bands, so we were in the
Oh, yeah.
second and third
Okay.
rows.
And in the future, after they've, build a comfort level and people kind of get used to it, then they'll eventually start, pulling the operators out of the vehicles. But for right now, it's
pretty weird.
It's there. The operator's just there.
Took a long time
It
though.
takes a while.
That isn't something that happens overnight. And there's plenty of places where May Mobility operates currently, who is our partner on this with Southwest Transit, that are still have their operators, and they've been doing this for over a year. So.
And one of the things that one of the things on that note that May Mobility operators will provide is like assistance for people who need assistance with like wheelchairs and accessibility and things like that too. So they'll also help out with that. So these are also ADA accessible vehicles, which is fantastic. So that will provide that service. Yeah, but I'm glad you were able to ride the autonomous vehicles and experience that. So
And you're here, so it must.
Yeah.
and you're still here. Nobody crashed.
We didn't go very far. We stayed in the parking lot, so.
So yep, so that's a little taste of the future. And also, for those of you who are into the performing arts, the Chaska High School Theater production of Annie was happening this past weekend and this upcoming weekend. So if you want to see a great production of Annie,
I think
November.
it's over, isn't it?
Nope, November 21st, 22nd, and 23rd.
Oh,
this
it's the other one, Charlie
Yep,
Brown.
Charlie
just
Brown
had
just
it.
wrapped it. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So Charlie Brown, that was in Chan High School. Yep, just wrapped. But Annie's goes next weekend, so you still have your chance. In fact, I think I will be going there Friday night to watch Annie. And tickets are available online. So just Google, District 112 Annie, and you'll find tickets there.
You know if athletic and arts passes are accepted?
Yes, I heard they are.
Good to know.
Yeah.
So if you have one of those.
Yep.
I heard,
You already
but
have
you'd have to ask.
I think that's true, because I think it says on there athletics and arts, I call, but don't take my word for it, double check.
Yep.
Right.
But it's always good to support the
Which
arts.
school is it?
Yes. Is it Chaska?
This is Chaska.
This is Chaska. Yep.
I heard the sun may come out tomorrow.
Wow.
Actually, it's supposed to rain.
Actually, I don't,
Great job.
actually, I don't think tomorrow. Might be another tomorrow.
I want you to sing it now.
Perhaps we should orphan that reference. Just saying. So, and then also, coming up on the weekend, December 7th is the hometown holiday with the tree lighting and 100 Club, event. So they'll be doing the hometown holiday on Saturday, and then Sunday will be the tree lighting event at 6 p.m. 6 p.m., right? Yep. There'll be the tree lighting event at Fireman's Park. So for everyone, just pass the word along. Come out and see the tree lighting at Fireman's Park. And also a big, huge congratulations to the city for winning the American Public Works Association annual award for Best Project of the Year. So a lot of people are involved with that. In your note, you mentioned that, Matt Clark, Elise Durbin, Nate Cabot, Noel Graysick, Brian Jung, Pete Weifels, and Matt Hafner are all like leads in this. So, thank you for all of your work on that. It's, no small feat. So, I know we have talked many times about how it was a significant accomplishment. So, congratulations on your award.
Yeah, he did a lot.
Yes.
Not really sure. I do. Oh, yeah, we made videos
Oh,
credit always to council.
no way.
and I sat in meetings.
I was
I
gonna
said
say-
those
I will
meetings
say
with
that
you.
the person who took the worst beating
Is it Elise?
is sitting right there.
Yeah, at least.
Elise,
Oh, at
yeah.
least like 10 Bath and Body Works candles for that.
I think like 11 at least, you know, make it a dozen.
I will never regret the timing I applied to transitioning.
I bet. It seemed strategic.
It worked out really well for me.
Yes, but thank you for all your work on that. It's a big deal, and congratulations on the award. Well deserved.
Yeah.
Yes.
very much.
Yes. And then I think no, that's all I got. So thank you.
All right. Madam Mayor-elect?
Just a couple things. Yeah, I also attended the Veterans Day presentation that was hosted by the middle school West. It was wonderful as always. And it was just so fun. I was in the media center. I can't remember what they call it, the Star Room.
Star room,
Star room.
no,
Yeah,
yeah.
the star room. Yeah.
And just talking to some of the young students that are on the city council or the student council, and it's just so fun to see the next generation of leaders in our community and speak with them over their excitement on things. But and then the road dedication, the signage on Creek Road, that was wonderful and very much appreciated by all. The one thing the event wise highlighting is this week, the 18th through the 24th, the Chaska Community Center is hosting a free trial week where you can enjoy the newly remodeled fitness area, state-of-the-art strength equipment, pools, skating rink, and so much more. Everything that a full membership would have access to. So I think that's important to mention. I think I was there the other day. Now that my door knocking escapades are done, I'm like, I gotta continue I got more time on my hands, but I was like, I gotta keep up the walking, you know. So I went down there and it'd been a couple months since I had been able to hit the gym. And I did see some of the new equipment and flooring in there, and it looks wonderful. So I encourage everyone to check it out. And then I know that there's Coffee with a Cop on this Wednesday at Red Bench at 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. And that's all I have. Oh, happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, right. Happy Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then shop small. Councilmember Happel alluded to it earlier in the meeting, but I think it's very important as a small business owner to take the time and effort to shop as much as your Christmas list small as you can. I know it's very convenient and easy sometimes to do big box or online retailers, but you know, our small businesses, they contribute back to our community. They're the ones that sponsor like the robotics club that was in here earlier and other functions. So I think it's really important, and they employ people locally in the community. So it's really important that we shop those stores. So I think that's everything I got. I'll leave
Give you a
stuff for.
second shot. Let's have.
Okay. Matt, I had a question for Metro Cities, the policy adoption meeting. Who represents us? And I know I've gone and voted once, but I didn't know. Is that you?
No, it's
Do we have a designated?
There's not a.
Should it be going?
Someone should be.
Yeah, I mean, it just ends up being a rep from the city that has the ability to vote.
Okay. Is there somebody going, or should we?
It's online.
Yes, it is. Yep.
So
Okay. It looks.
if you're interested in doing it, that's.
It's this Thursday at 4, so I think I'm available, so I can go. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't have somebody already, so.
While you're talking about Metro Cities, I'm gonna put in a plug. So because I'm stepping down and also the mayor there'll be a new mayor too. The mayor serves on TAB through Metro Cities, and I serve as the alternate for TAB on Metro Cities as well. I also serve the Metropolitan Area Water Advisory Council through Metro Cities. I think it's important to have our community's representation on Metro Cities. So I would strongly encourage those of you who are going to continue to serve to step up and participate, because In addition to those roles, TAB is huge because it provides transportation, highway funding to this community to like for, redoing roads and repairing and reconstruction of roads and highways, bridges, overpasses, trails, all sorts of stuff like that. Water Advisory Committee is one that I participate in, and that's a gubernatorial appointment, and that one helps to provide guidance for water policy across the metro. And then there's other groups that I've also participated in related to that. That were also through metro cities.
Yeah, I did housing.
Or like housing. Yep, you did housing, and then also transportation, the Transportation Policy Advisory Committees, and there's also another one for revenue too, and I also participated in revenue this year. So I think it's really important to get involved because that's how we can have a say in statewide politics that have implications to us. So like things like the meet in the middle lobbying or like a meet in the middle legislation, the missing middle legislation, right? Those are things that metro cities can advocate for us on behalf of us as a community. But if they don't know that we're behind it and they don't understand our position and our voice, they can't represent us. And so it's so utterly important that we are absolutely involved with that, because those are the ways that we can help to ensure that we have both a voice and also maintain control. So for example, like with the missing middle, legislation, which would have taken away all rights for us to, govern codes and zoning and, whether or not like a single family or like an apartment right next to in a single family residential zoning. Things like that. It's important for us to be out there because, it has a huge impact on our ability to govern, to make sure this community is the community that we want it to be. So I'm just putting that out there, and I just urge you to participate and step up, because those are things that as regular non-elected citizens we can't participate in. So they count on us as elected officials to represent our voice out there. So just want to put that out there. But thank you for bringing that up.
Yep, thank you. Some other things, the Chaska Human Rights Commission has a Chaska Human Rights Award they do each year, and that's usually presented at the MLK breakfast in January. So this year, nominations are due by December 12th. So those are emailed to Elise. And there's a form on our website, and I might be on our Facebook as well, where you can nominate an individual or an organization who's made a special effort to just ensure that everyone in Chaska has equal opportunities and advance the social well-being of the Chaska community. So that is always a really great award with a lot of amazing nominations. And I think the last few years they've had a really hard time choosing, which is a great problem to have. So if you have someone in mind or an organization in mind, you can nominate them and just email that form to by December 12th to Elise. And it's a pretty straightforward form, so it's not anything crazy. Just write a little bit about the organization. So
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
you don't have to write a novel.
Right.
It can be very simple,
Mhm.
so.
Yep, so highly encourage people to do that. And then also right now we have our commission openings posted. You can apply for our commissions. We have several openings. So the Planning Commission will have 4 open positions. Park and Rec has 4 open positions, with one of those being a student representative, age 16 to 20, for a 1-year term. So that's open. Human Rights Commission has 2 open positions. One will be an alternate, and one is the student position, which was new to the Human Rights Commission in the last couple of years. And then the Heritage Preservation has 4 open positions as well. So a lot of open positions, which we need a lot of people to step up and join those. And if you've been interested in getting to understand local government and you want to see that from a unique perspective, those boards are a great place to do that. Most of us, with the exception of the mayor and I, have served on boards or commissions, and they're just great.
You didn't serve.
I said that we haven't.
Oh.
We're the 2 that haven't. The rest have. So that is open to apply to until December 20th. And then interviews will be the first couple of meetings in January. So wanted to plug that as well. And then this is a less fun thing, but I got my proposed property taxes in the mail today or yesterday. I can't really remember. I think it was today though. So if you haven't, you will in the next day or 2, but I've already seen the Facebook heroes talking about it. So take a look at that. Our truth and taxation hearing is December 2nd at 7 p.m. here in at City Hall in the council chambers. So you'll be able to review it. So for instance, like my home value went up, and I can kind of look at City of Chaska specifically, how much the percentage went up. Overall, my taxes went up 3.1%. On my home specifically, it's going to be different for every home. And then on the back, and I don't know if this is new this year. I think it might be. Is it not new? Okay, I just didn't I didn't pay attention apparently. But on the proposed ones, you can kind of see the different school districts, other cities, the county, all there. And just something to keep in mind, that percentage change is the overall levy, and it won't match probably in most cases your actual tax increase. So they are different things. But I always encourage people that if you want to have a conversation, if you're wanting to know more, understand more about why that number went up or down or whatever it may have done, to reach out to your council members before December 2nd. We always tend to have a room full of people on December 2nd. And I always sit there really wishing we had had a chance to talk before then. So highly encourage you to reach out to your council member. All of our information is on the website. I think we all have Facebooks, everything. So, and happy to talk about it. Happy to just listen. If you want to just tell us your thoughts and you don't want to have us say anything, that's fine too. Honestly, that is also appreciated. So conversations are great, but that is something too. So just wanted to throw that out there since we did get the proposed tax statements, and that our December 2nd meeting will be the truth and taxation. So and with that fun topic, I think that's all I had.
All right, thanks. Elise.
Just quickly, I know a development of interest to the council is the Ernst House development. If you've noticed, Walnut Street just south of Third is closed for the next couple weeks as they're putting in utilities to serve the site. And I think you'll begin to see development happen soon after. They don't quite have their building permit yet, but are actively working on that, but wanting to get utilities in so they could go. So that's it.
Nate?
I don't have anything to add. Happy Thanksgiving.
Anybody over there?
I was just gasping at my tax. I just looked at my tax statement. It went up 5.4% this year. So I was just checking.
Okay. Well, welcome. Now you got a little taste of in-person meetings. What's your thoughts?
I loved the high school kids coming in and talking about their passion.
They're passionate.
Yeah, I really like to see kids involved. It's nice to hear all the things that you guys are involved in, and I hope maybe Mike, you and I can talk this next week.
Absolutely.
Not this week, but the following week, I'll get in touch with you and maybe I can take some of that over. And yeah, I'm excited to join. It looked, other than the homeowners who were not happy, it looked like a lot of fun.
Michael, anything?
No report, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Just a reminder of the State of the City address, Wednesday. We have our own Councilmember Hatfield will be doing the presentation. So anybody interested, I think it starts at 11:30 at the event center. And you can go to the Southwest Chambers website to be able to register to go to the event.
There will be some maybe TikToks that are played.
Maybe.
Which might be a first for that event, so.
Taylor Swift references?
There is at least one.
All right, you know, if people think our jobs are easy up here all the time and we can do things. Tonight was a real night. It still eats at me about what we had to do tonight, but it's the right thing to do. And that's where you have to do. You have to make decisions that you know your heart's saying one thing, but you know it's the wrong thing to do overall. And that it's not always easy sitting up here. And you know, I hope people do realize that. I feel terrible for the Highlands. They got put in the middle of a contractor that I know for a fact that the contractors got some issues with some health stuff at home, so he's probably just not connected there. unfortunate. It's just an unfortunate situation. But always seems to come back and put us as the bad people, and I just feel terrible about it. I don't know. It eats at me more than many things that we've done at this council, and but anyways, sorry, I just had to say it. Vets Day was great seeing Creek Road honored for the veterans. Good turnout. You know, hope that maybe was a little better, but it's just hard to get information out. It's so hard. We all know that, but still it was, and the program up at the middle school is always good kickoff to the day. It's another great day. So great to see the our trail here is, you know, paved all the way from Athletic, but there's a missing bridge. But it's, you know, all the rest is paved.
You can Knievel it.
You better get her going pretty fast.
City attorney nixes that idea.
Well, you do have a white jumpsuit, right?
Oh, got an autonomous car on
Yeah,
there?
right. I ran into one of our enthusiastic pickleballers and was talking to her about the new courts, and they are just ecstatic about what Public Works crew built down there. She couldn't say enough good things about how great they were to work with, how conscious they were to details. And she said that they've been doing, I'm sure it's over now, but they've been playing, they call it the Friday Night Lights, and they go down there and they fill all the courts up. And she said, we still have people waiting, so it's pretty cool, because
I saw like a drone picture or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
Yeah, so just that's, you know, it's a shout out to people that don't know that there's additional pickleball crews, courts, but also to Public Works crews, because they did that, they built that, and I think they did nearly everything that within hours that they could do, minus some electrical work and stuff like that, so kudos to them, and I'm happy to see that that is a project that's been very, very well received, so. So hometown holidays, are we in City Park or not?
We are trying to look at using the paseos, encouraging the business lines to use the paseos and one of the city parking lots this year. So
are they lighting a tree there?
we're still working on the details of that.
Cause I just don't know what I've been asked, and I said, well, I'm not really sure, I'm trying to find out.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some miscommunication, because I was with the Friends of the Library and they said that there wasn't anything happening for hometown holidays. And I said, no, there's stuff going on. You know, there's the sleigh rides and the shops are having their things, and they, you know, but I wasn't sure about the tree lighting piece of things.
I wasn't either. And,
You know.
and are we gonna be able to use the
So I think-
gazebo and the speakers and that? Cause I see it's cordoned off right now.
Gazebo's undergoing some repairs right now.
So that won't be used. Okay. Well.
We'll work on getting details with the Business Alliance. It's been something we've been working through with them, and obviously get that out there quickly.
Yep, you gotta get that
that's
out.
important.
Exactly, so, okay, all right, and then it's already been touched on, mentioned the 100 Club. For anyone that doesn't know, the 100 Club is an organization that purchases the holiday lights in the city. They are not paid with taxpayer dollars. Matt, are there tickets yet?
Yep.
If someone wants to?
Yeah, I gotta get out an email yet, but basically everybody who had tickets last year, your tickets are reserved until you tell me no.
Good strategy.
You should be in sales.
In fact, the check is expected unless, yeah.
And just like everything else, inflation's taking the 100 Club to 150, but it is for two people, and you have a lot of chances to win.
He forgets it's been 150 for like 10 years.
Not quite that long. I remember paying 50 for the 100 Club.
You must have been in a dream world.
Anyways, that's a great event, and then we go right out the door and do the tree lighting in Fireman's Park, so. Santa will be there again, lots of.
There's a brand new big lit Santa chair that that 100 Club got to put next to the tree this year, so.
So always fun time. A lot of people come out to it. I think it's awesome. It's just, you know, pretty quick, pretty fast. You know, sometimes the kids from the high school come down, the choir comes down and sings some carols and stuff like that. So always a good time. I too want to say congratulations to Taylor, Leah, Josh, for the election. It's not far and you guys will all take over January 5th, I think is the first meeting. So, exciting times, exciting times. So congratulations. And I like John talked about it, you know, nobody's a loser. There is no losers. It's just, to put yourself out there, to come forward and say, I'm gonna run for election. You get scrutinized by the keyboard warriors so fast that, but it's important that people step forward and do that. It's, thank you to obviously the winners, but thank you to all those that didn't get their bid. So appreciate everything that they've done and I hope that they continue to do that. So, when are we gonna start the public works planning process? Is that gonna start after the first of the year? Or?
Yeah, I mean, the thought is to try to have it mimic the stuff that we did for the Public Safety Center. In that case, what we did is we sort of spent like January, February timeframe actually going and doing tours of different places and then got into getting the architect and design firm in place by like March timeframe.
Right. Well, good to know. I just was curious.
Because then the idea behind it would be is then to go through like we did at the planning process for the public safety, where we tried to complete that by the end of the year so that we could be in place early in that next year to go out for bid.
So early 26. Okay. Okay.
And that, I mean, that was sort of to me, the key to it was getting to a point where we can get an early bid out.
Cause that's, I mean, that should be pretty easily a 1-year bill, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think about those other like industrial type buildings and how long they took, that they probably about a year.
Yeah, I mean, I remembered they put those panels up for that whole building in a week.
Yeah, the panels go up quick.
Panels go fast.
Yeah,
Then
then it looks like it's done, but then there's everything else.
Yeah, well, there's no roof.
Yeah.
Floors and
so
glass and everything.
All right, excuse me. I too, just want to say happy Thanksgiving, everyone. It's kind of the first of the big holidays where everyone gets to spend time with family and friends and enjoy each other and have a great dinner. Be thankful for there's a lot of things to be thankful. I mean, it's very challenging, a lot of things going on, but there's a lot of things to be thankful for. And I hope everyone, takes that time and thinks about that and, enjoys time with your family and friends. To our officers and firefighters working, I hope you have a nice quiet day. That, not much is happening, that you get a chance to go somewhere and take it easy for once. So. Lastly, our meetings, we have December 2nd. It's a regular meeting, no work session. That's our truth and taxation. It's already been mentioned. And then December 16th is regular. We got a work session at 5:30. And then that will be our final approval of our budget. And for anyone that doesn't, we cannot raise it, but we can always lower it if that were a need to be so. So December 16th will be the final budget. So that is all I have. Yes. Oh, yeah, the Santa parade. Yes, we already got that. So that's covered. Great time. All right, anyone else? Last call?
One question. So anything, or what's the latest on the KFC and Cooper site?
I'll take the Cooper site, he'll take the KFC site. Cooper site, so we did meet with the Klein family 2 weeks ago, and they did indicate that they're still working with the family that's wanting to own that as a grocery store. They are trying to get SBA financing. They gave some indication that even if they didn't get SBA financing, they might be able to fund it themselves. If they were to do it, they've made it pretty clear that they would be doing a pretty significant renovation on the inside of it. So we're sort of waiting on them at this point to see if they're able to get their financing and go from there. And then he could talk about KFC.
And just how long does it take to get the SBA financing? What's the, like the runway for that?
I mean, typically, typically it depends on how quickly people get their application stuff back. I mean, typically once a bank has it, it's a matter of weeks, like a few weeks. But I don't know exactly where they're at in the process of actually getting the information that they need from the bank. Because I do know that they had some businesses that they were selling that they were going to be using to put as equity towards the project. So so it really depends. It depends on how much of their stuff they have in order.
Okay. Cool. KFC.
I want those twins.
Right over here, Matt.
Last time I checked, you're the community development director.
It's conveniently lined up, right?
That's the second time I've heard that.
Yeah, he also gives half of Liz's presentation much of the time, but that's okay.
Sounds like a TikTok in the making.
So yeah, the KFC, we're in contact with the property owner. They were going forward with some exterior changes recently, which we told them they needed to stop because they did not have a permit. We don't want to get into that situation. And so they stopped. They have been put on notice that in order to get a permit, just due to the time that it's been vacant, they'll need to get a structural engineering report in to fully understand the scope of the situation of that building. So as far as I know, the property owner has not secured that. Received a couple updates. So we are working through strategies and things that we can pursue with the property owner to encourage compliance over there. So hopefully we'll be in a position to begin taking some next steps along those lines in the near term. I don't want to go too far down that road.
They indicate what kind of business was going to go in there?
I don't know if the strategy of the property owner is super well defined for me, at least. It sounded like that was, since it's a drive-through fast food oriented building, that's kind of what they were thinking. But I think the property owner recognizes that, the long-term vacancy puts that building in a whole different status than just simply doing a quick renovation, right? I don't know how aware the property owner was of that situation prior to purchasing. So,
That's first.
Yep.
All right. Thanks. Anything else? Last call?
Can't forget, finish up the loop.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We're not adjourning.
Well,
Yeah, we can adjourn. We're going back in the work
Yeah,
session.
work
Okay.
section.
All
Yep.
right. All right. Forgot about that. All right. Anyone else? Otherwise, motion to adjourn?
So move. Oh, second.
Motion by Councilmember Grau,
Second.
second by Councilmember Wong to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Post same sign. See you in a couple weeks. Thanks, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving.